Let me begin by saying that I'm Bill Potter. I have the privilege to direct CNS, and it's my great pleasure today to moderate our webinar on the topic of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, nuclear safety and security in time of war. Before I introduce our distinguished speaker, let me say a few words about the concept for our new webinar series. As you can imagine, we, like most objective observers, were shocked and dismayed by the unprovoked Russian invasion of Ukraine. Like the rest of you, we are trying to make sense of the rapidly evolving situation, and in particular, the implications of the ongoing war for a variety of nuclear issues, including those related to the safety and security of civilian nuclear facilities. In this context, I believe it's useful to recall that Ukraine is no stranger to nuclear dangers, even well before the 1986 Chernobyl accident, as it was the site of at least one Soviet nuclear test explosion in 1979 as part of the extensive Soviet so-called peaceful nuclear explosion, or PNE, program. CNS has a long history of engagement with Ukraine on nuclear safety issues, having first established close ties with the Ukrainian State Committee for Nuclear and Radiation Safety shortly after it was first established in the early 1990s. CNS provided, among other things, to the State Committee computer nuclear trade publications at a time when both were in short supply. And we also worked very closely with its experts on nuclear security and export control issues. I recall vividly, for example, an international conference on nuclear safety in the post-Soviet states that CNS organized in Monterey in 1994. It featured the heads of the Ukrainian, Russian, Lithuanian, and Kazakh nuclear regulatory bodies. The head of the Ukrainian delegation at our meeting was Nikolai Steinberg, a former reactor operator at Chernobyl, who actually contracted cancer as a result of his exposure to radiation during the accident, who subsequently became Minister of Environment in Ukraine. Although many years ago I wrote a monograph and several other publications about Soviet decision-making for Chernobyl, I'm not a scientist by training, and I've not closely followed nuclear safety and security developments in Ukraine in recent years. I therefore am particularly delighted that we have a true expert with us today to address a number of important questions regarding the contemporary nuclear scene in Ukraine at a time when nuclear facilities are very much in peril due to the war being waged in their vicinity. Among the important questions that I hope we will have time to address today are the following. What nuclear facilities, reactors, waste storage sites, etc., have already been subject to attack? How vulnerable are the many other nuclear reactors and associated facilities on Ukrainian territory? What safety and security precautions are being taken at this time to guard against both malicious attacks and inadvertent action? What international legal obligations has Russia violated regarding the safety and security of Ukrainian nuclear facilities? How are these issues being addressed at the IAEA and at other international venues? Are there specific forms of international assistance that would help to improve the situation as it pertains specifically to Ukrainian nuclear facilities? And finally, for my short list, and there's no attempt to be comprehensive here, are there broader lessons that we can derive from the current Ukrainian situation? Let me now turn to our featured speaker for today's webinar. She is Ms. Kateryna Pavlova. Kateryna currently serves as the head of the Department for International Cooperation and Public Relations at the State Agency of Ukraine on Exclusion Zone Management. I believe she also coordinates G7 and IAEA projects related to the decommissioning of the nuclear reactors and radioactive waste management at Chornobyl. She also participates in G7 working groups dealing with the prevention of the spread of weapons of mass destruction and physical security. She holds a Master of Science diploma in engineering and also has completed 2 CNS and the Vienna Center for Disarmament Non-Proliferation courses dealing with nuclear safeguards and nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Before Kateryna begins her presentation, let me thank in particular our own Margarita Kalinina Paul for reaching out to Kateryna and making it possible for us to have this webinar today, which was the first in what will be a series of webinars that we will be hosting over the next several weeks at least, dealing with the nuclear dimension of the crisis in Ukraine. So Kateryna, I'm just so delighted that you have taken the time to join us. We look forward to learning from you, and I'm pleased to give you the floor to speak at this time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Potter, and thank you so much, Margarita, to organize and to create this kind of platform to share the information, sad information, terrible information, but we must keep together and keep exchange of this information to know which hazardness we can have and we have already. I will just share my screen to start with, with something, and I just want to remind that we have this situation happen 35 years ago, and territory of exclusion zone is contaminated with high level of transuranium elements. This is a map, and I want to remind our audience that our country really have big amount of radioactive waste, and we is the leading country in this field in Europe, and the dangers of lost control under this radioactive waste is very, very significant and very important to recognize and to understand what we can do and how we should act in future. Territory of exclusion zone is State Agency of Ukraine on Exclusion Zone Management is coordinate all activity and responsible for this territory. We have big amount of workers and some amount of state enterprises which is responsible for strategic direction, and this is a territory of exclusion zone. I want to put your attention on 10-kilometer zone, which is pointed like a red zone. Here is a zone of special industrial use. And here located very strategic, different strategic of our enterprises and facilities for radioactive waste management and spent nuclear fuel. So, and also very unique and very important facility and the object is new safe confinement. You can see some numbers and measurements about this very important strategic object. So the 24th of February, we lost control of exclusion zone, and since this date, operating personnel of the Chernobyl NPP, in total 92 persons have been held hostage by the Russian armed force. Here's a picture how they came and in the front of nuclear power plant. They remained the site for more than 6 days, our staff, and Chernobyl nuclear power plant personnel are forced to maintain the operation of the facility and ensure security at gunpoint. The soldiers of National Guard, which was in this time in exclusion zone in total around 130 persons, have also been taken hostage by the Russian armed force, and they stay in basement. I won't put your attention that 2 days ago it was some fake video in Russia pointed that our National Guard and Russian soldiers together control all territory. It's fake and it's propaganda, and our National Guard staying in basement without food, without any, communication. So the invasion of heavy military machinery of the Russian arms force into the territory of Ukraine happened through the natural serve established over the contaminated with radiation territories around Chernobyl and PP. The movement of heavy military machinery through the exclusion zone lead to raise of radioactive substance into the air. The increase in gamma irradiation level has been exceeded by 5 to 15 times. Such levels were detected by the automated system of radiation monitoring of Ukraine and observed by all safety concerned countries of EU. This is a picture how our National Guard trying to break the breach, and as a result of Russian military activity, Ukraine has lost control over radiation hazardous object located in exclusion zone. Here's a list of this location. It's new safe confinement storages for spent nuclear fuel, and Chernobyl liquid radioactive waste processing plant, and solid radioactive waste processing plant, Burakivka radioactive waste disposal site, radioactive waste disposal site, third stage of Chernobyl, Pedlisny site, vector complex, and automated radiation monitoring system. And you can see that these facilities contain nuclear materials and high-level radioactive waste that could be used as a nuclear weapon and dirty bombs to manipulate Ukraine's use of radioactive materials in hostilities and intimidate international community. I want also mention that we have this monitoring system and last data when we saw and pointed that levels of radiation increase in some point, we were published this information and inform our international partners. And directly after this, we lost access to this monitoring system. And we don't know what is going on there. We just 2 days ago there was some fire in big territory, and we can't understand where from this fire, and the monitoring system, unfortunately, we don't have the access. So I want also mention that in 25 February, air alert was, this is a map just for our audience to understand how dangerous it is now, the activity and this military action from Russia Federation. And you can see the amount of nuclear facilities, and the most, of course, dangerous is Zaporizhzhia NPP. And I will just inform what we had in this case. The 25th of February, we had air alert was declared at the site of Khmelnytska NPP and Niteshin city. Ukraine requests the IAEA the following: to create a special task force to monitor action of the Russian Federation because its aggression against Ukraine and the action on the Chernobyl site give ground to doubt the effectiveness of existing safety regime, to raise question of imposing sanction on construction of new NPPs designed by Russia, and carry out international audit of nuclear material in possession of Russia Federation. We work close with European Nuclear Safety Regulator and World Association of Nuclear Operation. We carry out close communication and information exchange, and we are so pleased to for International Atomic Energy, especially for Mr. Grossi, because he 24/7 connect with representatives from regulator, from our agency, with representatives of Energoatom, and he is really very attentive and very important person now in communication and creation the plan what and how to act in nearest future. So here I just put our suggestions about, and this is very, very important suggestion. And we also had and have now very serious hazardness from Russian military around Zaporizhia station. The Sputnik city is called Energodar. It is very in big round of so big amount of Russian troops is around the city. The city is closed. We cannot send there any help, any food, any medical things. And yesterday in the evening we had alarm and information that Russia put on operation and make ready to shut to the site of nuclear power plant, Zaporizhia nuclear power plant by Grad. And today also we have information that some extra troops it's arrive, Russian military troops it's arrive nearby the city, and it is big hazard now in this city. I also want go no, I won't go back to our yes yeah, here you can see the association, Special Enterprise Association Radon. You can see we have a local in different our regions facilities Radon, and 2 days ago Kyiv Radon was shot by missiles, and facility is actually not heated, but it's destroyed the physical protection of Kyiv Radon plant. And 2 days ago, representatives from Radon workers, they were driving there and they put back some this physical protection equipment, but in case it's something will go and we cannot send people there right now because everything is destroyed in Kyiv and the roads, and it's impossible to provide logistic for person, for staff to repair something. And Kharkiv site also was hit by Grad, and there were destroyed this automatic radiation monitoring system, Nuvia, and it's shut down now, and the radon site switch off to power from electric because it's destroyed transformers there. So our workers, they grid connect to diesel generator, Kharkiv radon, but we don't know how long it will work and how it will, because today Kharkiv is destroyed, it's hit by thousands of muscle, and I even don't know how to say, but it's impossible to monitor anything in Kharkiv radon right now. And yeah, so this is just, we also were asking and sent some suggestions and asking for help from NETA to close our air, to protect facilities, because Russian military, they are not, it's created by some Chechenian and some different representatives, I can say like this. Some of them even don't speak Russian, and very dangerous situation is that these stupid people, they can't understand that we are nuclear country, and they can just use Grad or some other military machines, equipment, without knowledge what they are doing, how they done with aircraft in Donetsk when they shot and so many people die. So yeah, such a like this situation. And I want, yeah, mention today that hero of atom, it's Valentin Heiko, head of Chernobyl nuclear power plant shift, has been in charge of the safety of nuclear facilities at Russian occupation military station for 6 days now. He cannot resign, and he cannot leave his post. And today he have his birthday, 60 years. And yeah, it's so sad that such a professional expert person who is very honest to his and very responsible for his job is in such a situation. And we do believe that soon we will have freedom, and we will have all our territories back to our control. And yeah, so this is just my, of course, we have also a lot of communication between each other inside the country and outside. We work very close with our international partners. We keep in touch 24/7, collect information and share information. And my last interview for Bulletin, I just mentioned that world should know that we are one little step, a few millimeters from destroy our world. And yeah, this is end of my presentation.
First, let me express my tremendous kind of gratitude to you for being with us today to talk about the issue of nuclear safety and security in Ukraine under exceptionally difficult, circumstances. And I think everybody who was part of this meeting want to wish you the best of health, wish your compatriots in Ukraine, particularly those who are operating under such terrible circumstances at nuclear facilities, but in the cities that are besieged and under fire also, to offer our best wishes, our condolences to everyone, and again to call attention to our desire to be of help if we can channel resources, to help those individuals who are facing such terrible conditions. This is our first attempt after the invasion as a kind of as a group to try to provide a forum for informed discussion of pressing issues that pertain to different nuclear dimensions of this conflict. And I don't think we could have had a better topic or a better speaker to initiate this discussion. We will continue to follow these issues very closely. And I hope that by joining us today for this discussion, you also have developed new points of contact that can help us try to address many of the challenges that Kateryna raised in her talk. So at this moment in time, I think we will probably have to conclude our session. I know it's very late. I know many of you, although you should be sleeping, will move on to other difficult work today. But I do want to express my great appreciation to you, Kateryna, for the work that you are doing, and to your compatriots. And we wish you all the very, very best.